Good evening and welcome back to another edition of Beyond the Backstage Pass. I am your host, Vince Edwards. You may know me from Sound Image Productions. I also have a couple closed roadie groups on Facebook, one called Death by Loadout and the other one called The Backstage Pass. Come check us out. We're getting up to some silly. Tonight with me is my dear, good friend and co-host, Kyle Thomas. Kyle Thomas, how are you tonight, brother?
Great, man. Another day, another dog biscuit.
Yeah, you've been going hard on the dog biscuits, but it's because you've been working very hard lately. I don't know where you want to jump out. We won't jump out on the people and tell them, but you have been keeping yourself extraordinarily busy, and it has not gone without notice. And I've been very proud of your work ethic lately. Been really getting a lot of cool shit done.
I appreciate it, man.
We got a second project that we're working on. We've kind of alluded to in the past. We won't get into much detail right here, right now. But we kind of got it pretty flushed out in the sense of the build of it.
Yeah, we got it looking nice.
Yeah, it's pretty. It's real pretty. So we built the second set in effect. And it's just over yonder, over by where Winstadama is right now, schooling up on an S6L.
If you guys pay our Instagram page a visit, I got a couple of little things up on the story for just a quick glimpse at what we got going.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's turning out really good. I'll get right with you in a second. Oh, look at that. This is my lovely woman has checked in. She was teaching a class of her own this evening, doing a show of her own, and it looks like she got off early. I'm so happy. Jackie Canterbury is here, and she knows that my guest tonight is somebody I absolutely adore in this business, one of the sweetest, coolest guys in rock and roll. And I really mean that. You're going to find out for yourself in a second. But we got a couple things to talk about right now. What's going on, Kyle?
Yeah, I just wanted to apologize yesterday, or last show, for the audio drop. Yeah. I think we got it all worked out now. We did a huge overhaul and cleaning of like maybe 10 shows that had piled up cable on top of each other. So there was a couple of loose cables, potentially. I think we got it all squared away now. I also like to thank Jeremiah Kearney for last week's show. It was awesome to hear him.
It's so good.
Once we worked it out, the content's still standing, so it was great stories from him.
I think Mikey clipped the show on Instagram, or excuse me, on YouTube. You clipped that show, Mikey? Yeah, we trimmed it back up and pushed it together.
Oh, there you go.
Because there was kind of two segments, and on the YouTube feed, it was basically from minute 1 all the way to 8:07. So there was this kind of
like dead space.
Yeah, in the middle, and we're just like talking to each other and doing whatever.
So there we go. We're edited and ready for rewatch.
Yeah, but we did have a great time with Jeremiah Kearney. He's just a wonderful guy. You know, Adamson Systems Engineering, one of the just top-notch dudes in the game, and this sweetheart of a man. You know, is
total legend.
Yeah, he's a badass. Hopefully, we get to see him soon. It looks like Charlie's Ricky's checking in, and of course the one and only Jayhawk. Did we?
Jayhawk.
Cell Block Earth. He gave me this great shirt. We had lunch this weekend down south. I went down to my house down where me and my chick are at, and me and him had lunch. And Salinas was absolutely very enjoyable. He's a hell of a great guy. And he's Mr. Hat and graphic designer and the singer for the Infirmities. And
yeah, I forgot the shirt. I'm gonna pull it out next show. But
yeah, maybe Mike, if you dig around, you can find a Cell Block Earth image. Throw it up at some point, but.
Yeah. Speaking of like albums that just dropped, we got Mike, our producer over here.
Oh man, this album's crazy. So
fucking
good.
Pagan Legends just dropped.
Is that what it's called, Pagan Legends?
Pagan Legends.
I did not know the name of it, but I do know what the content of it.
Yeah, this guy just like destroys a drum set. So
it's ridiculous.
Like seriously, this guy plays.
Yeah, it's some next level shit. I can't explain this to you enough. You just have to hear it for yourself. It's on Spotify and iTunes and so on, but it's extraordinary band. And Michael is an extraordinary drummer. Our executive producer, director, the octopus back there, is an extraordinary drummer. Like I've known and seen and heard a lot of drummers in my day, and Mikey is right up there. I mean, he really loves his work, and he kills it. You got to check this album out. If you get a chance, please go check it out.
Yeah,
if you like fast, hard music, that's an album for you.
They call it Celtic death metal.
Celtic death metal, that's right. Kids nowadays, Jimmy, I swear.
So speaking of other groups we were working with, I've been talking about the My Heavy Memory rehearsals. Yeah. Unfortunately, Paulie Montero, our brother from SIR, a guest on this show in the past, got COVID. So he's been recovering from COVID. I just wanted to give him a little shout out and some words of encouragement that we're here for you. We'll toss some groceries out the car door.
We called him up. We called him up yesterday. This is a dear, long-term friend. We have many things we do together, and we love this man. And he's, like you said, he's a studio instrument rental guy. He's an extraordinary drummer. He's probably one of the best friends a person could ever have. And we talked to him last week, and I didn't even recognize him on the phone. He was so sick. And so we reached out to him yesterday just to check in on him, see if there's any groceries or anything we could do for him. And he said he was good and that he's on the mend. But yeah, man, that's the closest it's actually got to me in the sense of, being in your circle.
I think same here, yeah.
Yeah, so we love you, Paulie, and, say hi to Norm for us, give him a pat, little baby Norm, and we can't wait to see you get better soon, brother. And, of course, if there's anything we can do for you, just reach out. We'll freaking drive right over.
We're right there for
you. And we've extended that offer to him, and so he's aware. But we just wanted to say, hey, looks like John Del Rio's checking in too.
Charlie, shit, I got this box from
Charlie sent us some love. Now this is just what Charlie Zwicky does.
Yeah,
that's why he's the godfather of the shore. Yeah,
it's all from Hell, Michigan. They're awesome. Thank you for the pins and
very
badges
cool.
Here, man.
Yeah. These are deck of playing cards from Hell, Michigan. We were talking about Hell on the show last week, something to that effect, and it spawned Charlie to take a drive over down the way. He's up there in Michigan, in the North Country, and he sent us a box of love.
One of your cups is going to good use, Mike. He's got it filled with whiskey over there.
Yeah, Mikey don't play, and I told Charlie that was what was going to happen to it. That
look at this.
That would have Mikey would dial it in and suss them out. So
we'll get some pictures up.
Yeah, it was really sweet of you. We should do that, by the way. We should take these things that come in and snap them and throw them on the Instagram.
It's not a bad idea.
Show the love idea that we got that Tools thing and different stuff. So thank you, Charlie. We appreciate you, man. You're the sweetest.
Thank you. And speaking of which, holy shit, it's our 1-year anniversary.
So Bernie Broderick, me and Bernie Broderick started this out together. We were sitting around, shows were getting canceled left and right off of our dry erase boards, which we have them all over the shop.
That's right, it was a sad state of
And it was like the first week of all this shit, and people were like kind of popping their seams and losing their hair. And we had this tradition, after work here, as we go out and all smoke and tell stories and, kind of kick it around the fire, as it were. And me and Bernie Broderick were standing around, and we're like, dude, it's going to suck, as I'm telling people, hey, you're not going to put you on the schedule next week. We're losing shows left and right. We're losing tours. And he's like, how do we capture this thing? So we were like, well, let's throw some chairs down, sit in front of a couple cameras, and do it. And, it was kind of a complimentary piece to the pages that we got, the closed roadie groups. So me and Bernie got together, and we made a show that we initially called The Shit Show. We were just talking shit, and me and him did, and he's a busy man, he's always building new speakers and new designs, and he's at the time was putting in that stereo system and that house system for Rick Allen of Def Leppard's new house down by my house in Carmel area.
It up now.
Yeah, and I think he just finished. That's how extensive this job was. It's like 67 individually handmade speakers, all different and special and specific. And so, but that's what, that's Bernie. It's just always building and doing and making. He's kind of a resident genius. And so after around the 5th or 6th show, it was hard to get our schedules keep coming together. But yeah, I started with Bernie, and he came in yesterday, and we said, happy anniversary. It was very, very sweet. And so, yeah, I want to shout out to my big brother and boss man, which is George Edwards from Sound Image Productions, for letting us do this. Of course, Dave Shadone, the big cheese, CEO of Southern California Sound Image, one of our other shops. He's really the man of all of it. And the really specific shout out and a lot of love to somebody sadly who is no longer with us, which I get the chills right now. Just my hair
really
just went up all over my whole body.
John
Rigney, who is this extraordinary cat. Like, I can't explain this to you enough. This guy was one of a kind.
Heart of gold.
Oh my God. Brain is like a steel trap. He was super pissed about the political situation. We'd have these intense conversations when he was alive. He passed the middle of last year. Absolutely out of nowhere. He just passed away, and he helped us with the lead wall behind us, the cameras that are seeing me right now, a lot of gear. When we first talked about this, what we were doing, and we were kind of doing it with like GoPros and shit. He was like, no, there's another way, which of course we knew, but we weren't trying to reach out at that point. And he really saw what we were doing, and he had a certain feeling about it, and so he threw all this gear at us, and it really upped our game. And we can't say how much we appreciate him. We appreciate the extraordinary people, Cameron Brown, his partner at the time, and John's lovely wife over at Large Screen Video. They're extraordinary people. We made it a year, I want to say 54 shows. I think we got 49 arable. That means 5 of them we threw out.
They might have not been
They were so
par,
unwatchable. It was, fidgeting and doing all this weird shit. Just but we've done we haven't really missed a week. We just keep banging them out. And And so, but that's because of those people that I just mentioned, and the support of our fans and I struggle with that word, our audience, people like the great Charlie Zaricki, Paul O'Doul, Patrick O'Rourke. There's so many, Noah the Beard Tanner, just legends, Scott Chaney, Sean Dama, just people that keep showing up and inspiring us and encouraging us. Johnny Del Rio, the one and only.
Oh yeah, speaking of which,
And of course,
Staging,
Johnny, he's our one of our new sponsors. We're lucky to have
is.
a lot of friends in the business. We've been doing this in this business for quite some time. And John Del Rio's Gallagher Staging, of course, with Frank Gallagher, and just a sweetheart, just a Hulk of a man. He's a big, he's a guy you imagine that throws deck around and throws steel around, and he's got a heart to match. He's just the sweetest guy, and we love him. And so thank you, Johnny Del Rio, for helping us out with our staging and all the different things that we get up to. He's been a partner in crime for a long time, and we couldn't be more appreciative. So, and this has been a tough year. He's also got a page. He just sent up a comment that says, "We lost so many people in this last year. John Nergney will be missed." To that point, and I was just talking to my guest a little bit about this, losing folks, and we mentioned that Jake, went from, was it 113?
134.
134. We lost Jake Hurd, and John Del Rio, my brother, Bob Powers, all-star rigger. Bob Powers is one of the top riggers in the world, Metallica and all. They got together and they made a page called Loving Hands for Stagehands, a tragically named page, but a really well-intentioned, sweet place to go. And so it's a place for, people that are, you needing a little encouragement, maybe your head's a little up your ass. Shoot over to Loving Hands for Stagehands on Facebook. It's a very, very kind thing. And a lot of like-minded folks in the industry that are, helping each other out and lifting each other up. And so I throw a little stuff on there to encouraging things. And together as a group, we kind of all manage it and keep it going. And of course, to the wonderful, my brother, Jorge Eduardo, is reminding me to thank Joe and Joey from Gallagher. Thank you, George. He knows my brother's he's the nice guy in the family. He goes and smacks the backs and gets the deals done. I'm kind of the concrete guy, the rougher side of the beam. So, not that my brother wouldn't clean somebody's clock, but he's got everybody's name down.
Speaking of dangerous new things that come with you,
what's up?
I heard you got a new pen. Do you mind showing the audience your scary new pen?
My friends know how I roll, and we had a friend come in from out of town from, I guess he came out of Montana.
Yeah.
He rolled in, and
heard he's a scrappy little guy.
Yeah, he'll throw down in a heartbeat. He's like the guy you want in the bar when some shit jumps off, because he'll fucking clean the place out. Like you think I'm joking. I am not joking. This motherfucker is straight up hard guy, and we love him. And he came and he knows how I roll. And he didn't have a set of brass knuckles, he knows that I've employed these many times in my life. These suckers have really got me out of trouble more than once. And he owns every friggin', he's very big with his weaponry. And so he said,
collector.
He's a collector. And he said that I was screwing up because I didn't have a pin that also doubled as a way to cut somebody. And so it was really sweet of him.
See, another way to be fearful.
So I traded him a set of brass knuckles for the pins, because I didn't want to just be getting something, not giving something. So it was very sweet of him.
Something else to run away from Vinny with. Great, thanks.
You made a point. I was talking about whipping your ass the other day, and you're like, "Yeah, only if you can catch me."
Yeah, that's true.
And I realized, oh, son of a bitch, he's got me there.
I'm a quick dude.
You're not wrong, man. That's one of my little Achilles heel there. I can't really keep up with you guys. Damn it. So, and my little cart, the battery's low and low, so I can't really chase after you in my little rascal cart too.
That's a sight.
Yeah, I know. It's so sad. So sad. Aging is not for pussies. I'll just say that. But you got anything else, Big Daddy?
That's it, man.
We feel like we did some housework right there. That was a little bit of that. But we're happy to have been here for a year. We're happy. We appreciate you guys for being here with us. And let's get right to it. I say a lot to you guys, and it's because I don't know what else to say. That we're very lucky on the show. We've been in the game for a long time, and in that, and in the different guises, being vendor people, touring people, working for bands, working for local crews, touring. I mean, you can't do 40 years in this business and not kind of stopped at all the steps. And in that, we've met a lot of extraordinary people. Tonight is just no exception. This cat tonight, the guest we got for you tonight is, to me, one of the, I'm a little fast and loose with the superlatives and the adjectives about sweet and kind, and this fucking guy to me is really one of the nicest, coolest guys in rock and roll. If I had half of his mojo, half of his charisma, I'd be unstoppable. And I'm pretty fucking unstoppable as it is right now. But man, this is some next level shit. I adore this man. There's no job, we've worked together. There's no job I've ever asked him to do that he couldn't do. He's trained, I want to say, half of my staff in the audio school game. He's here in some ways to help me understand why I need to have a better attitude about the learning process that isn't on-the-job training. that's my idea of learning. But he's got another way. He's an adorable human being. He's wonderful. It is the one and only Jimmy Lyons. Good evening, my brother.
It's an honor to be here on your anniversary. Happy anniversary! I had no idea.
Yeah, baby. This is.
It's an honor to be around you anyway, man. It's just great to see you. Speaking of lovely human beings,
right?
This guy. You are very, very kind and very sweet. I'm a huge fan. You know, I'm very fond of you. You know, you're a mix engineer. You're an exceptional guitarist. You're a teacher. You've trained a lot of these young people up into be what they are, and then they come here, and then I knock that out of them and teach them soul.
Yeah.
Put them through some other paces.
Yeah.
But it's I can't say how lovely it is to see you this evening. How have you been doing?
As long as they can coil a cable. Let's just, let's over under this shit and move on from there.
Yeah. It's a good starting place. Right?
That'll get you a lot.
Yeah.
Just being able to.
No, you're not wrong. I've had people come in here, and one of the fastest ways to get your head around, at least for me, a person's experience and understanding, especially when they're young looking, is you put them to, throw them on some feet or throw them on a 100-foot piece of fucking XLR and see how fast they can whip that thing up. And pretty quickly, it doesn't take much to lose respect for a motherfucker.
Especially when they start over under feeder.
Yeah, that's really a thing. So listen, Jimmy, I know you're extraordinarily busy. We're going to kind of go through your history and your life. I don't interview linearly. You would know that if you watch the show. Jimmy's a very busy man.
I've watched a little bit.
Yeah, I know. I understand. I was playing a little bit. So on the show, we tend to ask a gentleman like yourself how you got into business. We're interested in the origin story.
Well, growing up as a kid, as a musician,
Yeah.
When I moved to California, I wanted to, get involved in live music and nightclubs and stuff like that. So I got my real start. I worked at other clubs and other functions, but my real start was at a little tiny dive bar in San Francisco called Nightbreak.
Right.
And the owners basically handed me the keys, and I was picking out the sound system, doing sound, booking the bands. And, we're a little shitty dive bar, but we had a good sound system, a couple of cans, a couple of lights, and we were nice to people.
Yeah.
We paid them fairly, and we were nice to people. And because of that, we just started getting better and better bands, and we ended up doing, Primus and Four Non Blondes, and,
right.
and Young MC, and
Sure.
this crazy list of bands. Jane's Addiction wanted to play there.
Wow.
This 49 capacity, legal capacity.
Right.
Little dive bar on Haight Street, and everybody wanted to play there because it was a cool vibe. It was nice people.
You built an incredible reputation as a place to play.
Exactly.
Yeah, artist-friendly spot, as it were.
Yeah. When the guys that played Friday night would come back Sunday afternoon and hang out and check out the bands that were playing.
Right.
I'd buy them a couple of beers, and try to create a sense of community with people.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, no, you've always been really good at that. I always kind of marvel at how well your ability to navigate yourself through the different trades and the different folks in it. You seem to get along with everybody, and everybody. I don't know anybody that's ever said a bad word about you. You're just that guy, and that is an invaluable trade ability in this industry. Let me ask you. So I mentioned before that you were a teacher. I know you ran the audio program. I think it was Expression
College.
Yeah, what was the job title over there, and tell us about that.
I was the course director for Basic Recording and Production 1, Basic Recording and Production 2. I wrote my own curriculum.
Okay.
And you just heard, I came from
Yeah.
dive bars,
Yeah.
and shitty little recording studios, and had my own, like, half-inch 8-track at home,
Right.
with a little
Yeah.
TAC mixer,
Sure.
and learning, I could punch anything, and went from there, and built up, and so I came from, really doing it.
Yeah.
So when they're telling me, teach it the way you want to teach it, I'm going to be practical.
Good.
And basically, I'm going to make it so that you're learning stuff that you need to know. And there's this thing about teaching. When you're teaching something, you have to give them a sense of why they should be listening, why this is important.
Right.
And then the good thing about the school was, and I say this because I've known people that went to audio schools and completed the certificate program or whatever shit that was, and in the 2 years or whatever it was, never laid hands on a console.
Yeah.
Never actually pushed faders on a real console.
That's right.
So the beauty of expression, and this was a period that we had where it was a lot of badasses running this place, and Kyle will tell you he's
had
a
Andrew
product.
Fried over there, I think, at one point.
Oh, yeah,
right?
yeah,
Fried, and
yeah.
I think was Anderson in there too, Kyle Anderson.
You got it for characters.
I love how Andrew Fried elicits a laugh like that. I so
was
get
you,
that. We love you, Andrew, but you're a pain in the ass. Moving on.
I've got good Andrew stories, but that's another story. That's another thing. But yeah, there was a lot of good folks in there, a lot of really smart folks,
Yeah.
people that really knew their shit, knew what they were doing, and knew these students, knew what these kids needed, and knew what they needed to hear. And we were surrogate parents to a degree to a lot of these guys. A lot of these kids are coming in, they're 19, 20 years old, they've never been out of the house,
Yeah.
and we focus on application. We focus on actually doing it. I'd stand there and jabber on for 3 hours about a dynamics processing or whatever, or equalization or whatever, and then we'd spend the rest of the day in the studio, employing it, turning mics up.
Hands-on, physical touching gear.
Hands-on. And I'm back here at the back of the room.
Yeah.
Because I don't like to work,
Yeah, yeah.
So I'm at the back of the room letting somebody's got a question, I'll answer. But, I want them on the board. I don't need to be on the board. I want them on the board. I'll show you the trick. I'll show you the thing.
Yeah.
But then I'm going to back away and let you do your thing, And bands would come in, and the students would be responsible for, interfacing with the bands,
Sure.
trying to establish the social skills
Yeah, right.
that they so sorely were lacking.
Artist relations.
Yeah,
of
artist
course.
relations.
Yeah.
And, getting it done, and communication, and making people feel comfortable.
Sure.
Right? I always said, creating an environment conducive to something positive taking place, and that's a lot harder than it sounds, I don't know, maybe it sounds pretty hard.
We had Bob St. Laurent here not too long ago, and he's the Deadlies, his band's the Deadlies, and he said he was doing that work with you guys, getting the kids trained up, kind of throwing some hardballs at them.
Yeah, the
being a little
Deadlies
difficult.
lived there.
Yeah.
They lived there.
Yeah.
They were, right? I mean, I think they did a whole album there. I think I mixed some of that stuff. Yeah, those are good guys.
Yeah, absolutely. Bob's a special cat, no two ways about that.
Yeah.
So that's a little different. What you just described is a little different than the experience I've seen from some of the heads that come in here. I don't. People will know that have watched the show that I can be a little hard on the. I'm a little bit of a dick when it comes to stuff like Full Fail and S.A. Lame. I mean E and I need to be better. I have to be nicer about it now. Now the reason
people wouldn't recognize you if you still got too nice about it.
That's a good point. That's a good
Be
point.
like something's up.
Something's going on.
It's maybe sick.
The universe is out of balance.
It's not wrong, but I earned this fair and square, man. These kids would come in here off and on, and other shops we've worked, Delicate and others, and through the kind of because this is a relatively a newer phenomenon, last 15, 20 years.
Yeah.
And, our careers last longer than that.
Oh, yeah.
And so we came up, like you mentioned, your story is almost identical to my stories. We clung on to some small dive place and learned the shit on the ground, full real deal stuff,
Yeah.
And so we learned the gear relations, the management relations, the artist relations in real time, in real fire.
Yep.
And that, to me, has always been it. So it goes to this question here to explain to me why going to school school at one of these places is better than on-the-job
Hey,
training.
listen, there's always going to be kids in there that are just trying to burn, they're potheads that are just trying to burn through their parents' checkbook.
Yeah.
There's always going to be that element
right.
in any school. So sure, 20%, sometimes 30%. Give me a number.
Oh, I'd say higher than that. But
Well, Kyle was one of your students, correct?
Right, yeah, right.
Yeah, Kyle
right.
was one of your students. I believe Michael Brown, the guy behind over there in control right now, our director, our executive producer, was one of your students. I believe Brian Adorama, Drew Johnson. I mean, the list is long.
There's to say that though,
the
there
names
is a
I
lot
just
of
mentioned
people.
are all really qualified, highly skilled people.
It also astonishes me how many people that went to our school that are really successful artists or talented, like really went and did another level of production from what they got from it.
It's true.
It really ranges from the person that goes through it. Really.
It's true. I want to contact some of these guys and, hey, show me show me some tricks.
Yeah, right.
Well, you know, a couple of them, you know, look at Aaron Martin, who was, I think, Lana Del Rey for a minute. And, you know, I know he studied under you, and extraordinarily sharp guy. So are these two. They're extraordinarily sharp. They really, really got the ones and zeros. The part that it seems to be missing from the training, I don't know if it's missing from the training, but I haven't seen it in the guys. And, of course, I kind of developed my nasty little attitude because of so many people showing up here that couldn't hit their ass with either hand. I mean, they really, I couldn't march them to some L21. They couldn't wire an L8, you know, just kind of the basic shit of being in this business. And so it would really be discouraging for me. And so I started thinking, well, I apparently have to tear these folks down to the basics and get them in on the floor and the ground floor and lift them back up. And so, but then, you know, there's folks like these guys at the past 3-year school that came here pretty fully formed, you know.
Yeah.
And they've oftentimes your name comes up with some frequency because they cite you and the courses they took with you and the good learning. So I'm coming around on the thinking on this.
There's a balance, you know. There's a balance, but like I said, we had this sort of golden era. You know, it was about 5 to 15 years ago. This golden era where the staff was strong.
Yeah.
You know, the staff was just, you know, not a leak in the boat, right? I mean, we were watertight. You know, there was pretty much top to bottom. The staff was very strong, and we were very united. We all knew what we wanted to do. We all wanted the same thing, and you know, we were kicking ass. We were kicking ass for a while there. You know, it went downhill as things do, and everybody disappeared.
Kind of
abandoned
ship.
Everybody abandoned ship right at the same time.
Keeping with the
Mass
marine
exodus,
metaphors, yes.
Yeah, mass exodus about six years ago, I guess now. Yeah.
Well, you know, we definitely have to, you know, tip of the hat to you as the ones that you turned out because you know, it's not all created equal, and we've really gotten some mileage with these guys, and some of our best guys in our shop and in our team have come through your doors. So.
Yeah, but I led them to water. It was up to them to figure out what to do next. You know, they did the work. You know, I presented them with the opportunity, the information, the opportunity, and then it was up to the student to take it to that next level and use the time, the recording time, the studio time that was being offered them. Use the time in Meyer Hall in the live room that was being offered to them.
Sure,
you know, it's up to the students to take it to that next level and actually get something out of it. You know, and he did the work.
Yeah, this one is, like I mentioned before in the opening, how we were doing this large project just on the other side of this. This is a very large building, and that side of the building, which I think you walked through. And so what'd you think? Is it pretty? Did you approve of what we built over here with the gamble? And,
it looks amazing.
Yeah. So that I think it's going to be, that's largely on this one right here. And this guy just head down and elbows out, you know, doing the work.
Hardware.
Yeah.
Pass that shit.
You have to see it. It's hard to explain, and I won't even try. But just imagine a shit ton of gear all cobbled together to make this thing we're trying to do for this little console project
We're into 60 hours or something.
Yeah. It's like some real time on the work. But you know, when you're working with the older gear, it's I think the young guys aren't as familiar with this. This was how we came up. This is what we did. It was just part of doing a show. And so when you go away from it, and we've been away from it a long time as well, you know, to the plug and play boards of today with all the onboard, you know, applications and
processing.
All the plugins on them.
Or when things break and like the dual compressor, right?
What happened with the dual compressor?
I got the shock, Vinny. It was fucking awesome. So I plugged this thing in, power it on, right? Ow, shocked the shit out of myself. So of course, what's the first thing I do? I go grab Vinny out of the office.
He turns it off. It says,
Make
I
him
need your
turn it
help.
on.
I told my wife that one. She said, well, that's just how you guys show love. You're just weird. It's a roadie thing. You're not wrong.
That's what we're missing with plugins.
Yeah.
They're
So,
just
How do
not
you
as
shock your
dangerous.
friends?
yeah, so it was like, he's like, throw those toggles. And I hit both of them, and it just lit me up like Christmas. And I was like, you dick. And so then, of course, what did I do? I called Mikey over.
Had him put his beer down and everything.
They had a can of fluid with him. And I was like, yeah, can you put that down? Which should have been a dead giveaway. He should have known immediately something was up. And I was like, yeah, we need you. And there's like fucking, 20 pieces of rack gear over there, right? Outboard gear. And there's one that's not turned on. How do you not know not to fuck you?
It's those moments, man.
Yeah, it was awesome.
You don't get that with the digital
Mikey,
shit.
and then I remember he touched one of the switches, I think, and nothing happened. We're like, no, you need to touch them both. And so we sapped Mikey. But then we tried to play that joke on Winston, and Winston's, he's an older gentleman and one of the best of us by far. I mean,
I didn't let it happen.
yeah, and he's like, you're gonna kill Winston. He can't do that, and he unplugged it. I was gonna try to take. I'm bad, I was gonna try to take the joke.
This is why he misses analog. He's got his taser.
Let me ask you. This is a question that would obviously have to exclude Kyle. What was your favorite student? Did you have one that just? Sorry, Kyle. My wife's gonna
Kyle
never be mean
aside-
to I love you, Kyle. I'll be nice. I'm just playing around. I'm being a little feisty lately.
There was this one class. I had a lot of great students.
Yeah.
And but there was this one class that I really enjoyed, and I'm actually still close friends with one of the guys. We actually played in a band together. But there was this one class that had these three guys, and they were all just straight A, they got every question right on the midterm, and they got the bonus questions right. They got a 106. One got a 106, and one got a 102. One got a 100 on the midterm. I mean, they were all, and the written tests were really freaking hard. I don't know if you remember that, but the written tests were really. I mean, I was sort of supposed to be a brick wall, Vince.
Yeah.
The kids had been like fooling around with video cameras, and I don't know what other shit you guys were doing. But once you got to the actual recording program, it was time to get real as far as audio production. And so I had a really high fail rate. I sound like I always have trouble saying that because I'm trying not to sound like I'm bragging about it. I had a really high fail rate. I had a lot of students would have to retake my class, and a few of them would begrudge me. These three guys, it was three guys, Alex Spencer, Chris Hughes, and Des Lott. And it's funny too because I don't remember this about me because I was a sweetheart, right? I was really nice. Everybody's like, Jimmy's so nice, but not on the first day. On the first day.
Oh yeah, you set the mood. That's right.
If somebody walks in late during the first class.
Did you light him up?
I light them up.
Yeah.
And that way I can be nice the rest of the term.
That's right.
And it was Des Lott, who's now one of my best friends. I love the guy. I love his dad. I love his mom. I'm down with him. And he wandered in late, and I said, oh, do you see what I'm doing now? I'm stopping talking to all these guys. And now I just have to focus on you. And take down your name, and your name is, and he was like terrified of me, So he said, I knew one thing, I was never going to be late again he was never late again for the rest of his time at the school.
Yeah.
And he was a straight A student. I thought, oh, this kid's, he's not serious. I got back the first quiz back, and he got a 102 on the first quiz. I was like, holy shit, this kid's, because I always say, anybody got any questions? And I go, Des, you got any questions? I was like really hard on the guy, until the first quiz, and I realized, oh, he's about it, he's all about it, And then from then on in, we were cool, and then he played keyboards in my band, and we did some really cool gigs together, and nice guy. His dad ended up being in the band too.
Yeah.
His dad showed up at a gig, and we're talking, and I say, he's talking to me about how excited he is about the band. And I'm looking at this guy thinking, I've got 10 years on this guy. I'm in a band with this kid. So I can't focus on what he's saying. And he finishes up with, we should jam sometimes. And I said, yeah, that would make total sense. Because me being in a band with your kid doesn't make any sense. But that would make total sense. He had to join the band. Really nice.
That's fucking
But that was there was something about that, the power trio there, we called them, the power trio, those three guys, Des, Chris, and Alex, that they knew, about each other. All three of them were kind of quiet guys. None of them were really outgoing. You know, it's a nerd school, right? I mean, it's a lot of nerds.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and they really haven't come out of their shell for the most part at that
That's
point.
right, yeah.
Chris was
Very sweet.
painfully quiet. Alex, I knew I could get him talking about baseball. He loved baseball. And Dez, you know, I was a work in progress, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was an exciting thing to watch those three guys. Other students, Hillary Swank was really great. I don't know if you know her. She was really,
No,
really
I know
great.
Hughes, and he's extraordinary. Yeah, a lot of the guys that I know that you turned out your more than your fair share of extraordinarily well-trained folks, which again goes against my theory that you know that's a knucklehead palace, but you know, I think I just cited like 5 or 6 that have been through your
Good guys,
process
good
that are
guys.
they're here and have done really well.
Good
And
guys.
so yeah, that's super cool. Dead Kennedys. Now you know we got Kyle Anderson in here in the shop, one of our account managers. That of course is their current front of house guy.
Oh, cool.
But yeah, you were out in Dead Kennedys days. I think you did a full tour with them.
South America, yeah.
Yeah. Talk to me about that. Was this Jello Dead Kennedys or
No. This is the new guy.
modern Dead Kennedys?
Yeah. He was good. He's good. He's a good guy. And I'm
Yeah, nice guy.
totally blanking on his name.
I won't lie to you. So am I right now.
Anyway, super nice guy. Super good. Good singer. He was good. Good performer. Good.
Yeah,
Good.
yeah.
Everything good.
Good stage presence.
And it was funny because I landed in Bogota, Colombia, with 3 secrets. One, and this will surprise a lot of people, I wasn't that familiar. I wasn't familiar with the Dead Kennedys.
Really?
I've never really been a punk rock guy.
Yeah.
In the 80s, I spent most of the 80s wishing I was Prince,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So I was never really a punk rock guy. I was friends with Klaus, which is how I got the gig. Klaus's kid and my kid went to the same preschool.
No
and
shit.
and that's how we got to be friends.
Yeah.
And we got to be good friends. He's a great guy, you know?
You're hanging out with the
And I
fluoride
hope he's
kid.
not watching to find out that I didn't even know about his music until I landed in Bogota, Colombia.
Yeah.
I never really listened to them. 2, I never really operated at that point a digital console, and the whole tour was Yamaha M7s. Those,
Oh, no shit.
Which are kind of
It's that's a transitional board. Yeah.
So and the third thing was I was front of house. I was also tour managing.
Right.
And I never really had a cell phone at that point.
Oh shit.
Yeah, I was a late adopter.
Yeah.
Adopter. So those were my 3 secrets. I was going to have to be doing a lot of talking on the phone because I was tour managing.
Yes.
And I was going to have to operate a board in a foreign country, right?
Yeah.
So
Your house guys not being able to speak with the house guys, and yeah.
I'm at the first sound check, and I know the production manager's on his way there.
Right.
So I'm standing at the board. Everything's fine. It's a board. You know, it's a fucking board. Push buttons, make shit sound good. Push
Right.
save faders up. So I'm at the board, and I'm thinking, God, I hope I get somebody that can help me that speaks a little English.
Yeah.
And here comes the production manager walking up the ramp. You know, we're on a scaffolding out, 125 feet back. Walking up the ramp, he's got a Red Sox cap on.
Oh.
And I'm from fucking Boston.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. That bodes well.
I'm like, go Sox. He goes, yeah, go Sox. I'm like, wow, that's a lot of English.
Yeah.
That's the most English I've heard in 24 hours.
Pretty good.
So it turns out he went to school in Berkeley in Boston.
Oh, sweet.
So he's a school guy.
Yeah.
And super nice guy. And any questions I had, he was right there. So it went fine. It was amazing. It was the first time the Dead Kennedys had ever been in South America. So people were super excited. People were stopping us on the
big
street.
draw.
Big draw. There was 110,000 people in the park on the first day of the festival
Amazing,
for
huh?
them.
Right.
So I would be on the can I stand up? Is that okay?
Yeah, of
I was
course.
on the scaffolding, and I'd hang out on the scaffolding, and I would look back, and
A sea
my
of people.
eyesight would run out. In other words, it was like as far as you could see in the world.
Yeah, in the
there
horizon.
was humans.
Yeah.
There was
Fucking
humans.
crazy.
It was freaking crazy. And I'm mixing on my, I got an array right here. I'm mixing on the array. I'm not listening to that shit because that's going to make you crazy. Listening to a sound system that's playing for 110,000 people, you're going to be freaking out, right? So I'm just mixing on my array. I'm poking my head out. Okay, that's hi-hat, But get back in, There's some high-pass filters on everything. You know what I mean? It's just, keeping it simple. And they're pretty straightforward guitar-based.
Yes,
band.
very straightforward.
And, people would say, it sounds really good. I'm like, is that okay? Because I'm not sure. Is it supposed to sound good? But it did. They're a good band. They were a good band, and they played great shows, and they were, a pleasure to be around.
I think you were doing this around, 2009-ish, give or take, 10?
Yeah.
So by that time, they're in the game 30 years.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh, yeah.
and they
yeah,
have seen it. And this is a band, you know, when I was coming up, because I came up in the punk rock scene, and
Yeah.
they were,
Gilman Street.
swear to
Warehouse.
God, first band from moving from LA to here. Within 2 days, we're up here in Monterey. We come to the city and we go see a DK show at what used to be the old James Jones Temple, you know, on the Elite Club.
Yeah.
And it was extraordinary.
Yeah.
And we had already known them from being punk rock in LA, but punk rock was very new. So this is like 1981,
Right.
1982, but no, probably late 81. And so yeah, they're just one of the premier punk rock bands in the game. Klaus Fluoride and the boys, you know,
Great guy.
really
Good bass player.
Yeah, really strong band.
All about his tone, you know. I mean, he's really about. That's a bass player that's all about his tone.
Yeah,
you know.
and you know, a very distinct sound, a very distinct thing they were doing. And with Jello, you know, Jello is a fascinating cat. I had a long history with Jello, and you know, sad that it happened between them. But yeah, the DKs, what a great band to get to go out with.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah.
And then they hear my Spanish, right? I can speak, you know, I can hold my own.
Yeah.
You know, I can speak Spanish. My wife is South American. I can.
Hi, honey.
And I can hold my own in Spanish. And
Yes.
so they keep on asking the band if they need to send a translator with them to this event or that event, and they keep saying, no, Jimmy's coming. And I'm like, dude, if you can get an actual translator,
that
get an
would be
actual
good.
you know, I can order us beer and, you know, find, you know,
Maybe
some
a quesadilla or something.
some good food, you know, but street food. But, you know, my Spanish is okay. Like I said, I can hold my own, but
Right.
I didn't sign on to be the interpreter.
Yeah. Fascinating, and you know, I'm sure a lot of fun.
A lot of fun.
South America comes with its own special treats.
It's amazing.
You know, working out the electric alone is a major issue all the way down the coast.
Yeah.
You know, as you go,
Yeah.
is very special. And of course, you know, Bogota being one of the more dangerous cities in the world.
It was fun.
Yeah, a lot of fun. Well, you know you're alive when you're doing those shows.
Yeah.
You know, you absolutely.
Yeah.
I was down there with
There was shit
Anthrax, and it
going
was
on at all
like it was
times,
some
you
shit.
know?
Yeah, it was full, and you know, they love their music down there. You
Yeah,
know, it's
they were stopping us on the streets.
Yeah.
And like guys had, you know, asking if they could take a picture with their kid in the picture, and it's like the kid's got a, you know, the 8-year-old's got a DK's T-shirt on, and
that's
so,
awesome.
and the dad's all into it, you know, and they're just full on rock star treatment. I mean, it was full on.
Did
rock
you
star.
grow to know more of their music over time?
Oh yeah, I mean, of course.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
I knew. You know,
Let's the Landlord and All Day in
yeah,
Cambodia
yeah,
and all that.
yeah,
You got it. All right, good. Yeah, they did their first album was probably one of my favorite punk rock albums of all time.
Yeah, they're great.
You worked with Billy Preston. Now, a lot of people may not know who Billy Preston is, but this is an extraordinary musician, extraordinary cat. What was
Fifth
it?
Beatle.
I fucking love the guy.
Yeah,
I mean, you know,
great
he's
guy.
just what an he's so special. His stage presence. He's such a large stage presence.
Yep.
How was that, man?
Super sweet guy. This
Yeah.
was, you know, past his heyday, and he's basically making a sort of a comeback record, and it's a dance record. He was signed to a San Francisco dance label, and I was in the studio with a guy, Ken Kesey, rest in peace, just an amazing fucking engineer. I learned so much from Ken.
Yeah.
Just an amazing, at this place called the Automat in San Francisco.
Yep, remember
And
it.
just, Ken was just, God, he was mentor of mentors. He was just like, he'd see me looking at something. Him and Dave Frazier
Yeah.
were the two engineers at the Automat. Frazier did everything for Narada Michael Walden.
Yeah,
And was
yeah.
he was always lending me shit that I didn't. I was like,
Didn't know you needed.
sending a tank to kill a cockroach. It's like, here, Jimmy, take this Sony microphone home to your 1/4-inch 4-track studio. I'm like, Dave, I'm not sure I need this.
Yeah.
Just use it for a couple days.
Trust me.
But anyway, Ken was in the studio with him, and at one point, Billy said, you know, I was sort of second engineering at that point. I was under Ken's wing.
Yeah.
And Billy said, you know what would be great here is if we had a synthesizer. This is real dating when this session took place.
Sure.
If we had one of those synthesizers.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And,
one of them newfangled synthesizers.
Yeah. And I had a Juno 60, Roland Juno 60 at home. And I said, I've got a synthesizer, and all of a sudden I feel my arm. Well, that's my vaccine arm. All of a sudden I feel my arm. It's the label president standing behind me. He goes, "What's it going to take?" I said, "I've never had one of these conversations before. What's it going to take?" I said, I thought the guy was kind of a dick, so I said, $200, and he goes, "Make it happen." And so I jumped in my car, ran home, got the synthesizer, put it down, set it up with sound that's sort of conducive to Billy Preston. He goes, now show me how to work this thing. I said, dude, I am not going to. Once you walk over there, I am out.
Yeah.
I'm not even a keyboard player. I just like playing with stuff.
Yeah.
And he was, again, super
Plus,
great
it's
guy.
Billy fucking Preston.
It's Billy Preston. I'm not even going to stand
literally, he
here.
really was considered the fifth Beatle. He played most of the boards you hear in a Beatles. That's Billy fucking Preston, and he's extraordinary.
That famous video from the roof of Abbey Road.
That's so
That's
cool.
He's Get Back,
His
right?
side stay, really.
They only show him a couple of times because it's like, what's the black dude doing in the Beatles?
Yeah. I think it was a little confusing for a lot of people at the time. They didn't know.
Absolutely.
But the Beatles were big. They were like that with Nielsen, Harry Nielsen. If they were down with what you did, they would try to incorporate it somehow. And then Billy Preston, they were huge fans.
Yeah.
What a great,
super cool guy.
Yes, very sweet man.
Rest in peace. Also.
Yes, yeah. Like you said, he had many incarnations in his career, and I think he lived a very lucky life. So, they recently closed down really a great stomping grounds here in San Francisco that I know you spent a lot of time at, which was Slim's, Boz Scaggs' place.
Oh, yeah, I heard that they closed that down.
Yeah,
right?
I was stunned by that. I understood that we've all been going through some changes, but the history in that place was so rich. I mean, I can't really think of a band who didn't play at Slim's. You either played there on your way up or you played there on your way down, but you played there.
I played there. I DJ'd there. I did monitors there. I did front of house there.
Yeah, right?
I did everything but clean the freaking toilets at that place.
Exactly. And the history, the whole of my time in Northern California, Slim's was this ongoing concern. It was a place you could count on. My chick wanted to see the Fix come to town. We'd call up Pike or somebody and go down there. And,
it's a great
we have
one.
our subs in the system over there and would roll in. And it was just a great, quaint place to see a good show, And the sound was good. And so any memories of that place? Any shareable
remember how I
memories?
said that I spent the 80s wishing I was Prince. So I didn't really, this is, you're getting like Barbara Walters here. You're getting all these truths out of me. I wasn't really, and this is hard to believe probably, but I wasn't really familiar with what hardcore was until I started seeing the bands. I started doing a lot of the bands there. Every Time I Die, I think was the name of the band.
Sure.
And that was just, it was just.
Was it a little shocking, Jimmy?
No, it was beautiful.
Yeah, that's right.
It was beautiful. The way these people, I finally understood the mosh pit. I finally understood I understood all he's got half the audience is up on stage. Some cat goes behind they got the big SVT bass amps, right?
Of course.
Some cat goes behind, climbs up on the drum riser, and climbs up on top of the SVT.
Launches himself off.
So he's about to launch himself off when the guitar player does the same thing, goes behind, gets on the drum riser, and pushes him off so that he can get up there. Yeah. It was just the camaraderie and the fun that they were, and it was like. And these are probably the most Dungeons and Dragons motherfuckers, most peaceful dudes the rest of the week, And this is how they get it out of their system. They go to a hardcore show and they just go fucking crazy and they have a great time and they don't actually mean to hurt each other.
No.
They're just acting crazy and having fun. And I found it super inspirational. I thought it was the most amazing thing. I was sad I had been missing out on it all these years.
Well,
but I saw many bands like that.
You either get it or you don't. You
know?
And so many heads would come into the mix that were kind of outliers, and they'd roll in and they thought there was some kind of a malevolent aggression that
right.
And that was just not what it was about.
Right. From a very short distance, it looks violent.
Yeah.
But it's not violent so much as I don't know how to describe it.
It's a kind of a venting of energy. It's and then of course you're kind of channeling some of the music. There's that propulsive, concussive move.
Oh, they were a good band. It was good. They were good.
Yeah. But I defy you to stand in place when Black Flag's playing.
Yeah.
It's an impossibility.
Yeah, or like Gangrene or somebody.
Oh my God, Gangrene's.
That was one of those things.
I love Gangrene. That's a Boston version of punk rock, hardcore punk rock, and
all sober.
Oh my God, this band was one of the most extraordinary. They had a great drummer.
I'm setting a
band.
bad example here with the tequila. You guys are talking about sober.
No, stop it. We don't give a shit. But in the punk rock days, there was
Mask that shit up, man. Mask it up.
In the punk rock days, you know, punk rock was kind of segmented based on where it was from, and they had slightly different movements. And then, of course, in the East Coast was the DC, Boston movement, slightly a little bit in New York, but mostly in DC came out of was the straight edge movement. Straight edge movement is kind of the triple X thing: don't drink, don't fuck, don't smoke. And it was a way of them kind of it was kind of virtue signaling their purity. You know, it was kind of
What do? They just watch Friends all the time. I mean,
they actually tended, from my experience, was they would tend to get up to more vandalism, and they were kind of judgmental and dickheads. But man, a couple of the band, the Freeze and Jerry's Kids and Boston, Gangrene came out of that scene.
What was the band out of D.C.?
Minor Threat, probably.
Them and
State of Alert, SOA, Teen Idols, Scream. All those are all DC bands. SOA was Henry Rollins' first band before Black Flag. Scream was Foo Fighters. That's Dave Grohl's first band before Nirvana. These are all bands that led to something else.
Okay.
Minor Threat is Ian McKay
Threat.
before it went to Fugazi. Yeah, these are all.
Oh, Fugazi was part of it. They're the band that you send them $10, they'll send you an album, right?
No, they sent it for. You had said right on. So he owns Discord Records, and then right on the very first Minor Threat album I got, it said, "Do not pay more than $5." Which, you know, it was really hard for him to get his albums in record stores, because record stores, of course, charge you more
15,
than that. Yeah, and so this was pre-$15 albums. But, you know, we're talking about 82, 83.
Right.
But, yeah, he was very militant about making his music accessible to people.
Yeah.
And he knew that the common limiting factor was typically that the music was for young people.
Yeah.
And young people don't have access to a lot of money. So it was a very organic scene and extraordinarily fun. You mentioned Jane's Addiction. Do you do any work for Jane's Addiction?
Well, I did that show. I was actually Nightbreak and the Kennel Club, which is now called the Independent. We're owned by the same couple.
Yeah, that's right.
Super sweet. I'm still two nicest people in the world. I'm still close friends with them, and they got out and you know, cashing their chips basically.
Sure.
But the night before. We used to have this thing at Nightbreak. It was a Sunday afternoon show where it started. I would audition a couple of bands, and I would play a couple of records, and then we had a sushiyama in the front of the place selling sushi, and it turned into kind of a scene, you know.
Yeah.
And better bands, instead of auditioning bands, better bands wanted to play the Sunday free. It was free, so people would, like, you know, wake up, have breakfast, and then wander over to Nightbreak at, you know, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the afternoon and start watching bands. And all of a sudden, you know, I'm learning how turntables work and everything. Next thing I'll look up and people are dancing, you know, so I better get better at this, you know. Anyway, my band at the time opened for Jane's Addiction at the Kennel Club. And then we're hanging out and I'm like, you know, Jörg, the owner, is like, you should come play Nightbreak for free tomorrow. You know, so I got to. So what they did was they sent the roadies home. So they sent everything, all the toms except for kick, snare, hat, and floor tom. All the toms, all the cymbals, all the hardware went back to LA. The bottom halves of all the stacks went back to LA. You know, so they played a stripped down version, and they were so much better. They were so much better the next day at Nightbreak for free. It wasn't even fair. It wasn't even a fair comparison. They played for free at Nightbreak. They were so much better than they had been the night before when they sold out the Kennel Club.
Wow,
it was ridiculous. And Perry's a character. I don't know if you know this.
He is a handful.
Sweetheart. He ended up hanging out at night. He ended up loving Nightbreak and hanging out there all the time. And being really close friends with my roommate at the time, Jane Castellan, and just a really sweet guy. You know, it's just like this rowdy bar, and he'd order like Dubonnet with a twist, or something, just to like everybody turn around,
drinking out of a flute or something, you know.
Yeah. But he wanted. I mean, probably everybody in production knows this about Perry's voice. Is what you're hearing is a harmonizer on his voice every time he opens his mouth. It's a fifth above. The note he's singing is always a harmonizer. So even if he's singing out of tune, the harmonizer is going with him, right?
Yeah.
So great guy, really great. But he wanted to control it himself. So he had this like adapter. He was plugging his mic right into a Yamaha SPX 90. God bless the Yamaha SPX 90, by the way. That was like the first one out of the gate. That was like affordable, right? It was like $400. Everybody's like, holy shit.
Yeah.
You know. But he had this little adapter, XLR to 1/4 inch. He'd plug his microphone, his 58, into the processor and ask me to take it out to a DI. And I'm like, listen, Perry, I promise I'll do exactly what you want me to do. But it would sound so much better if that was sitting back there at the board and I had it patched in properly.
Right.
That's a mic level going to a mic preamp as opposed to mic level going into the $400 processor.
Little sketchy.
Couldn't get it out of his hands. But that was fine, But super nice guy, great experience. They had a blast. I think they were really glad they did it.
Yeah, they went on to amazing things.
Yeah.
Especially with him in his promoting. But you mentioned the tours down south, Lollapalooza tours, and South America.
I got offered that tour that day. I was mixing. And I remember their manager's name was Charlie Brown. It's just randomly remember that.
Hard to forget, yeah.
Yeah, right. And he offered me the tour, but at the time, I was working in the studios, and God bless those guys, but they seemed like they were all on heroin. And I felt like if I get in a bus with these guys for 6 weeks, you better drop me off at the Betty Ford Clinic when it's over. I just felt like it wasn't a good
taking your life into your hands.
A
little bit.
Yeah, it would have been a great move for me professionally.
Sure.
But it would have been
maybe biologically not the most sound job.
Yeah.
I know you've kind of transitioned in this. I mentioned you worked right here at Sound Image, and you mentioned that you've worked in many other places. But I know over the last little while you've kind of transitioned. You've jumped into this other lane of your vast skill level and things that you can do. You're working over at Facebook. That's what I did there, right?
He said that right. Yeah.
Talk to us about what's going on Facebook. And by the way, I don't know if you noticed, but is there any easy way for me to throw people off my page when they're being obnoxious that isn't any way breaking any rules?
One thing I can guarantee you is I know less about Facebook than you do as far as the app. Yeah. I'm sure there's a way you could block them. I know a guy who knows a guy.
You know a guy who knows a guy? Yeah. Will you give him my number?
We can hook that up.
All right.
People disappear all the time.
Yeah, that's right. Dangerous world.
The Facebook version of that.
The Facebook version of that.
Bury him out on the campus out there.
Angry face emoji.
Yeah.
We're not going to let him have any kombucha. So they're super nice to me. I got to say, I work for a company that has me assigned to working at Facebook. They're a company called EOS. They're in Dublin. And they picked up on my education background. So what they're doing is they throw all this shit at me, make me learn it, and then I do educational videos and tutorials so that other people on the team can learn those platforms and those applications.
Okay.
And so right now, they have me in college learning architecture software. So I'm learning how to make houses and stuff like that.
Oh, that's so neat.
CAD.
Well, no, I already did CAD. I did AutoCAD and did a bunch of tutorials for that. And Brent hates it, but I like it. But this is a CAD on steroids. It's called Revit, and it's freaking deep.
Wow.
And it's so crazy because, here I got this house with a foundation and roof and all this shit. It's like, listen, I'm going to design where speakers go and microphones go and TVs hang on walls. That's what my job is going to be. I don't really need to know how to make a foundation for a house,
Yeah.
But I do because I have to pass the class.
All right.
So yeah.
Well, that sounds interesting.
And it's all in Irish. It's in English, but the guy's got this heavy accent.
So when you say Dublin, you don't mean Dublin,
Oh
California.
no, I mean Dublin,
Ireland.
Yeah. I mean
Got you.
Ireland. Yeah. Yeah, Dublin, Ireland.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a language thing going on there with.
Oh, it's hysterical.
That must mean the green shirt was for a reason.
Yeah, represent, baby.
Yeah, I know she rolling. You mentioned that you snuck in with actual colors on. You even got like some bright ass shoes. What the hell, Jimmy? You know where you're at, buddy. All right.
No,
I swear.
I mean,
anybody else?
You get to a point where it's like you wear black every fucking day.
Yeah, right? I know that point you're talking about. It's my
like,
whole existence.
I want some orange pants. It's like you get. It's like
I haven't reached this critical threshold. I got my socks are black, my underwear's black, my t-shirt, everything I own is black, and it's not the cool hand thing. You know, because this is an aberration. Me being out in front of a bunch of cameras is not normal. You know, I've
Right.
been
We're behind the
professionally
scenes.
playing hide and seek my whole life,
That's
and
the
I liked
gig.
it.
Yeah.
I like not being seen. So this is, you know, it's a little bit outside the. Yeah, it's weird, but because you're you may have noticed. You did notice. We didn't beat up on you. When you it's like, what the hell, Jimmy? What is with all the color?
I was literally looking for the most colorful clothing I had. Everything's in storage because I just got back from Santa Barbara.
Right.
But I was literally looking for the most colorful clothes I own. I'm like, I'm gonna fuck with these guys.
You don't. You know, I swear to God, dude, you could have came in here in your jammies and you would have looked cooler than any one of us put together.
right.
So, you know, right? I mean, this son of a bitch. Yeah, you bring the cool level way up in the building, and it just, yeah. We actually have a rule about coming on and being cooler than the host. I think there's some FCC guidelines that you're breaking right now. You could be cited. You mentioned that you were in Santa Barbara. You know, we're running up against these things go way too fast for me.
Okay.
But you mentioned you were down in Santa Barbara. I know what you were up to down there. There was a time I wanted you to come on the show, gosh, a month and a half ago. But you were busy doing incredibly important things, important stuff. Talk to us about what that was about.
Well, you know, for the parents out there, there's nothing more important than your kid. My daughter was diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma about 6 months ago, and had to go on chemotherapy and treatment. And you know, she spent the first couple of months at UCSF in San Francisco because we wanted the best of the best. Then she realized, well, we understand the prognosis, we understand the diagnosis, we understand what needs to be happen next. She's like, I want to go home. So she lives in Santa Barbara. She wanted to go back to Santa Barbara.
Sure.
And a kid, an alumni, another one of my ex-students,
Sure.
who has a brain tumor, has issues with tumors. His parents found out about what was happening with us and wanted to get involved.
Okay.
And they live in Montecito.
Oh, wow.
Like where Oprah lives.
Oh,
and
no, that's a
Rob Lowe
beautiful
lives.
area.
Yeah.
Beautiful area.
And they wanted us to stay in their guest house the whole time. So we spent 3 months in this guest house in Montecito. It's spectacular.
Wow.
But of
Wow.
course, you know, it was looking after our daughter who was undergoing chemo, which she has now completed, and she's kicked cancer's ass. And the doctors say she's cured and she'll never have to look back.
Oh, that's so fantastic,
yeah.
Jimmy. I really, to you and the family and your lovely daughter. Mike, you got that photo?
Such a blessing.
She never lost her hair or her eyebrows looked fierce the whole time.
She's a Lyons,
She's
man.
the doctor's like, you're gonna go bald. I said, doctor, have you ever heard of DNA?
Yeah.
There's this thing they have in
It's powerful
science.
shit.
It's called DNA.
Yeah,
and when your
that's right.
dad is in his 60s and he's still doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, she got lucky on the DNA dice when it came to you, buddy, because the hair thing I don't think was ever in threat. But we're really glad to hear that she's doing better. I know this was a big concern. We had talked about it a few times in the running up to this moment. And I can't tell you how happy we are here at Sound Image and as your friends to hear that your lovely daughter's doing well. And, you know, attaboy, buddy. You know, she's, I'm sure she knows that she's very lucky to have such a special dad. And I know you're probably very aware that you're lucky to have such a special daughter. So good for you guys and to the whole family. I want to thank you, your family, for letting you come out tonight and play. I know you're mindful of the current situation with things in the air. And so I hope you notice we're kind of socially distant here, just to keep everybody safe. But we love you, man, and we appreciate you more than you could possibly know. It's so great to see you, buddy.
It's great to see you guys. It's an honor to be here. It's just I love seeing you, and you know, I miss you.
I miss you too, man. Thank you for coming in.
Quick shout out to Bryce Recordon. That's the kid whose parents put us up.
I mean, come on. That is right.
Yeah.
How very sweet. You're going through this hard time, and for them to take that one, make it one less thing to worry about.
One less thing to worry about.
Yeah,
Exactly.
It really can concentrate on your daughter,
Yep.
and I'm sure your wife was kind of probably tripping a little bit. And so good on them, good for them, and right on Bryce for keeping care of a brother. And don't be a stranger, my brother.
Of course.
We love you.
All right.
Thanks,
Love you
man.
guys.
Listen, truly one of my favorite people in the game. Honest to goodness, I just.
Oh, one of my favorite teachers.
Yeah. Well, you know, and a man of infinite patience, clearly, for having.
Oh, he needed to deal with me. Yeah. God,
I wasn't implying that Kyle is a pain in the ass.
Jackie, he's beating me up again.
She's gonna tell me all about this later tonight. My mom don't like it when me and him are. She understands that as roadies, it's part of our thing we do. But you know, it's so much in love. You know, the brotherhood is strong here.
I know, I love it.
What is this with Keep Live Alive? Who's that? That would be Quint. That's Crew Music Asia,
So
isn't
he
it?
said apparently it's Thursday therapy. Have to watch the rerun. Hope everyone is well and happy.
Clint. Clint, I'm going to need you to do better. This is the second time, all right? Don't make me come down there. I'm serious, all right? He says he's one of the family and pulls that shit. All right. Listen, we love you guys. We know we do this for you. Please, if you're watching this on YouTube, Facebook Live, or Twitch, please hit the little subscribe button. It helps with the algorithms. Don't forget about our good friends over at EAW Users Group. We love them. EAW is one of our favorite manufacturers in the country. And Sweet Treatments and all the good people out there. We want to say thank you to the crew and all the folks in here that make this happen. You've been fucking killing it this week. You and Mike, you've really been.
Thank you.
I mean, really, dude. Seriously, you've been very, very proud to see what you've been up to. And so we got a new thing coming up. We'll let you know when it's all ready. But we've been working real hard over here to get things done. Next week, we have a special treat for you. Longtime friend, a guy that came up with us back in, what the hell is it called? Sound on Stage. It's a very large company.
Delicate too, huh?
Delicate
I
Productions.
think he traveled with you and your brother for a little bit.
Yeah, we have a lot of history with it. It's Mark J. Hetrick. He's an extraordinary individual. He's Snoop Dogg's production manager, Wiz Khalifa, Rob Thomas of Matchbox 20. His career is special, and he's done a lot of amazing things. We're going to have him here next week, and we're going to route through and dig around in that and tell us, his special thing is, he can do anything in the game, but his special thing is working with those specific kind of acts, and he's really got it nailed down. And he's one of those guys, when you're on his job site, you get it right because you don't want a foot in your ass. And seriously, man. And he's
That's why he's
absolute,
called the art director.
the art director. Yeah, he's reminding us of that today, wasn't he? But we're really looking forward to that. So that's next Thursday at 7 p.m. And until then, you guys be good to each other, be kind, have a good night.